Hello, everyone. My name is Stefanie Fächner, and I work for the German Safer Internet Center. In our daily work, we deal with a lot of different online safety topics, and we always wonder how education can make a difference and how we can encourage pro-social behavior in young people. And that's why I'm going to talk about an education strategy today, namely social and emotional learning, what it is, why I think emotions matter, and how we make use of this concept in our SELMA project on online hate speech. Exactly 2 years ago, I was on this stage to introduce our new klicksafe handbook on cyberbullying, where we made a move in our materials from prevention only to suggesting systemic conflict management and interventions in schools. The reason why I bring this up again is that one thing from my talk stayed in my head, and this had to do with emotions. So when we are talking about stopping cyberbullying, we talk about ways to overcome abusive behavior online and instead stimulate pro-social behavior. That means behavior that satisfies one's own physical, emotional, and social needs while still respecting those of others to the same degree. But in order to behave pro-socially, merely understanding what another person is feeling isn't enough. In fact, we know that bullies do not lack cognitive empathy. They understand very well what others are feeling, but what they are lacking is emotional empathy and the compassion it generates. This is why it is important to foster their emotional response to the inner experience of their counterpart and compassion for the other. So we have to find ways to move them emotionally. The consequences of their behavior have to get under their skin. So understanding a phenomenon such as cyberbullying on a cognitive level isn't enough. And it's not just about bullies, it's about all children. So that's why I will talk about SEL. If we think about young people's lives, how much time they've spent online, how many services they use for so many different reasons, and why we've heard examples already today, they will probably be in a lot of difficult situations. They will have a lot of digital dilemmas where they have to make tough decisions. But where's the connection between online safety topics and social and emotional competencies? Let me give you a few examples. The first and obvious one is social media. Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever might come up, you name it. Social media gives young people a voice. This can be either a very positive opportunity or it can have really negative consequences. And if you think about children having smartphones at a very early age, so in many cases we are talking about children in elementary schools, and many of them use services under the official age limit, I think they need support to call on emotions before they get involved, before they like, before they share, before they write comments. And it's not only about parents, so we cannot say, oh, this is up to the parents. I think that is too easy. Number one, digital relationships. The main reason to use many services online is that it allows us to communicate and build relationships with others online. And don't get me wrong, that is absolutely great. Yet, not all interactions online are positive. Students need to develop their own morals and ethics to create a code of conduct to deal with digital situations. And I think schools can and should help them to develop skills to make healthy choices. Number three, digital citizenship. Helping students develop empathy, compassion, and integrity will lead to a deeper understanding of how to behave when they face tough situations online. So providing opportunities for students to build these skills in a controlled environment will allow them to realize the potential online dangers and the impact decisions have on other people. So I think it's better if they have a controlled environment where they experience situations before they might experience them in real online life, or maybe they don't experience them at all. So, bearing all of this in mind, we have to help students navigate social interactions in the digital age and support them to take a stand for values online. We should give them opportunities to explore their own and also other people's feelings, to speak about them, and to develop strategies to regulate their actions online when dealing with topics such as cyberbullying, sexting, fake news, or extremist content. Here the translation is still going on. I can imagine that some of you are currently wondering, why is she talking about emotions? I'm a chemistry or a history teacher. This isn't part of the curriculum. Well, you're absolutely right about that, and most education systems primarily teach children how to use their cognitive skills, including the country where I come from. But the question is, when you can Google anything within 2 seconds, is factual knowledge still as important as it used to be 30 years ago? I think this is a rhetorical question, and probably the answer is no. But maybe, would it make sense to put a focus on developing life skills beyond the curriculum, or even include them into the curriculum? Well, some education experts believe that identifying and managing emotions should be part of the curriculum. And they can quote different researchers. I think the first source here is the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. According to different studies and their findings, people who are emotionally skilled perform better in school, they have better relationships, and they engage less frequently in unhealthy behavior. Plus, as I've mentioned before, more and more jobs are becoming mechanized. So soft skills, so basically all those qualities that make us human, will become even more important in education in the future. So there are a number of good reasons for including emotions into the curriculum, in my opinion. And a side fact, the OECD is currently running a 5-year study on social and emotional skills, where they assess social and emotional skills of students. And they include both the family environment, but also school factors. So next year, there will be more comparable information on these skills in a long-term international study. So this topic is definitely on the agenda in education, even though the reality might still look a little bit different. I've been talking about reasons why emotions matter and are particularly relevant online and also in a school context. So I think it's time for a proper definition of social and emotional learning, short SEL. SEL is the process where children, and not only children, can also be adults, learn to recognize and regulate their own and other people's emotions. It's a process where they set and achieve positive goals, where they feel and show empathy for others. And they also learn to value different perspectives. That's, for instance, really important when we talk about topics such as cyberbullying or hate speech. And they also learn to establish and maintain positive relationships and make responsible decisions. So I think all of these qualities and competencies are very important. So if you're wondering, or if you want to include SEL in your classroom, it basically means providing opportunities to practice emotional competencies. I know SEL does not always receive significant attention in curricular documents, but if you're interested, I have something for you. We are partners in a 2-year project on online hate speech, where we have a focus on social and emotional learning. This project is called SELMA. SELMA stands for Social and Emotional Learning for Mutual Awareness. And our goal in this project is to tackle online hate speech with education. We have created a toolkit with over 100 activities for educators to work with young people age 11 to 16. So I think some of you might be our target group. So what is hate speech? This was a question we dealt with a lot in this project. And when we were talking to people in focus groups, both adults but also children, we realized that many people think it's any kind of hateful messages online. And many people also confuse cyberbullying with hate speech. So they said, if you're a famous YouTuber, of course you get a lot of hateful comments. Or they also said, yeah, in a class they pick out someone and he or she will get hateful comments. But there is a difference. Hateful content is only online hate speech when someone is targeted based on one or many of those so-called protected characteristics you can see here on the slide. So they are age, race, color, descent, nationality, language, religion, sexual orientation, I know it's a long list, gender identity, or disability, just to clarify what hate speech is. And we think that this topic really can be integrated in many school subjects. So if you are a history teacher, this could be interesting for you, but this can also be interesting for social studies, for computer science, for language classes. There are many opportunities in schools to talk about online hate speech. In our toolkit, each theme starts with activities to develop the child's social and emotional skills. So this approach is really embedded in the project. And SEL allows young people to explore how hate speech makes them and others feel. They develop an emotional vocabulary, which is essential to be able to speak about it. They learn to regulate their behavior and appreciate forms of otherness. And they also develop strategies to disrupt conflict. I hope I'm not scaring you with this slide. Here you can see our theoretical concept model of our toolkit. On the left, you can see the three so-called ecosystems that are relevant for young people's lives. So it's their self, it's their peer group, and it's society. And then we have different focus areas. I've spoken about SEL, so it's about self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. But of course, in the toolkit, we have lots of other activities. For instance, media literacy activities, where you will find current examples from the media, which you can analyze with your students, or media production, where you can come up with your own ideas. And we also have citizenship activities. This is about activating young people to contribute to a better society. About the self, if you're wondering what ecosystem, what does it mean? It's about how online hate speech is perceived by the individual and how it directly affects them emotionally. It also offers opportunities to explore strategies, how individuals can manage the personal impact of online hate speech on their own well-being. The peer and social focuses on how online hate speech is perceived both by their peers, so are my people using hate speech, but also within their online communities, and this could be gaming communities, for instance. This offers opportunities for young people to analyze online hate speech behavior and develop strategies to respond in a positive way. Last but not least, society. This, of course, has a focus on the ethical and legal implications of hate speech, how society and industry providers determine boundaries, and also how this affects our culture. So this is about affecting positive change at a wider level, for instance, through effective campaigns. To sum this up, the underlying concept is about what you as an individual, as a member of a group, or as a member of society can do to affect change. So there is a clear call to action. And this is what our toolkit looks like. If you go to our website, hackinghate.eu/toolkit, you will find all the activities. This talk today is just the theoretical input. If you're interested in finding out more about how to tackle hate speech online, please come to my talk tomorrow. That will be the more practical session where I will show you some of the materials, including resources with a social and emotional learning focus. So if you're wondering what does it mean to talk about emotions in a classroom, I'll show you tomorrow. And I don't know if you have had a look into your conference bag, you will also find a short flyer in Polish with a link to our website, where you will find selected translated SEL activities in Polish. We translated them for the conference here today. One more thing I'd like to mention is our online course in English that is about to start this week. It will run for 4 weeks, and if you're aiming to get a certificate, you should register this week. Of course, you can still join later, but if you want the certificate, go to Hacking Hate EU, enroll this week. It is free of charge, and it also includes information on social and emotional learning. And there is even more. If you're interested in our project, follow us on social media. We have a Twitter hashtag, we have a Facebook page. Go to our website in either English or Polish, or simply talk to us or write us an email or whatever. Thank you for your attention. I hope to see many of you tomorrow for a more concrete session. And, wow, I used my timer. Last but not least, if you'd like to give me feedback on this talk, please fill out the survey. You will also find the link on the Polish Hacking Hate site. Thank you.